Bearcat Bounce Podcast. Back at it again. Monday following fireworks. Boom, boom. Happy 4th. Joey Chestnut Elite. Hot dog eating. Ribs chowing. Pool swimming. Lake canoeing. Monday following a return from myself from the wilderness. Fantastic BBP from last week. If you guys haven't listened yet, go back and listen. It is worth it. Happy Monday as well. Intro into Big 12 Media Days. Happy Monday uniform reveal. Wowzers. New heights. Thank you. Happy Monday as well as basketball draws near, football draws near, baseball draws near, everything. We're in the off season, but we're fully kicking. So it's a Monday. Well, welcome in the squad. We're all back together. It's been a couple of weeks, so I am very happy to say, without further ado, Aaron Smith, Chad Brendel, Ryan Royer, gentlemen, how are we?
Doing great. Had a nice, quality, relaxing 4th of July weekend. Hung out at my best friend's pool Thursday or Friday and Saturday. Good times.
Okay. This is the part where you tell us what food you might have made on the 4th of July, maybe on Saturday, or what
Nothing
all.
crazy.
What all
did some burgers and dogs on Friday.
Okay.
The new girlfriend made a charcuterie board for the party, which she is a professional charcuterie board maker, so it was a hit, and just kind of took it easy, man. Didn't go too crazy, and just had a nice relaxing time.
Nothing wrong with that. Everyone came back with a good tan, though. By the way, a lot of sun being taken in by everyone on this here said pod. So
I was out in the sun the whole time.
Here we go. Aaron, how are we, sir?
Doing all right. We had a little fireworks show on, I guess, Saturday night. Our 10-year-old, he and his dad spent like $600 in fireworks, and we were invited over to watch them shoot them all off. And he was the maestro, if you will. So he was super into it, super excited about it, and the girls really enjoyed it. So just got to do a little of that. But yeah, it was relatively quiet weekend. Outside of that, got some yard work done and some things around the house. But
yeah, what's you guys take on fireworks? Big firework fans?
I'm not spending money like that on them. But if somebody else wants to, I'll watch it.
I like them, but I don't like them enough to spend a lot.
Right. The nice part about living in the northern Kentucky suburbs is that there's going to be 5 people that spend a shit ton of money on fireworks. So you just sit in the front yard and watch everybody else's hard-earned money go up in literal smoke around the neighborhood.
Yeah.
I will give my neighborhood credit. Saturday night, 11 o'clock hit and the fireworks turned off.
Really?
Yeah. I was like Friday night, they went, it's the 4th of July. People are going to be up and whatever. But Saturday, 11 o'clock hit, man. And which Tiger is not a firework lover. So the sooner I can get them done, the better off it is.
Yeah. I mean, like I'm with you guys. I'll go somewhere and watch them. I'm not going to spend a nickel and dime on them, especially because I'm not the most. I'm a little clumsy at times. I could easily light one and it could turn into a Jason Pierre-Paul situation. So definitely got to
put it in reverse, Terry.
Yes, very very similar. Not in a wheelchair, so that I can't even put it in reverse. I can easily fall and hurt myself. But
I feel like the amount you're indulging in the beverages, you might as well be in a wheelchair, Brent.
100%.
Probably ended up in one by the end of the night, knowing you.
Yeah, I'm sorry I blew you up in the text messages, man. It was one of those weekends, safe to say. One of those weekends. Speaking of one of those weekends, Ryan, how are we? How was it?
It was great. went over to the boy Will Adams' parents. They got a condo down at Norris Lake. Smooth little 3-hour drive down there. Spent the weekend with the boy Alec Pierce, Will, Blake Basevich flew in from Harvard Medical School.
Wow.
And one of our other friends who lives up in Columbus with Will. So we had ourselves a good little time. They had great fireworks on the lake. Perfect weather, lots of sun. Out on the boat, you really can't beat it. Getting to catch up with the guys, so it was a great weekend.
Golly. I love it. Hell of a crew, though. Quite the
Yeah.
assembly.
It was
Yeah.
the NFL star with the walk-ons. So
It's a good mix, you know. I mean, it's got to come from the mud, but congrats.
we're the personality hires in Alex Circle.
There we go. There we go. Every group needs them. Yeah, but you know what? My fourth is great. Thanks for asking, guys. Spent down here in Florida after I got back from quite a trip. You guys thought I was on a beach somewhere, Ryan. I know those texts were coming in. I went to a special self-subscriber, pardon me, and they said I can get one text message group person that I can text throughout my trip up north, and I picked Ryan Royer. The text never sent though, so I do apologize about that. Wanted to keep you updated day by day, let you know I was alive. But guys, hell of a trip up north. I went on a canoeing adventure. Have any of you guys ever actually gone canoeing? Real question.
Like on a canoeing trip or just canoeing in general?
Both.
Just canoeing.
Like cabrewing.
Yeah.
Like, everybody just gets loaded the whole time and you barely put oars in the water.
No.
You hope the
Or like
current pushes
whitewater
you.
rapids.
That is not what this is. Boy, I'll tell you what, canoeing is hard. Paddling is so hard. You get tired when you do it for a long ass time. There's these things called portages. Have you guys heard of these things? These
No.
portages? You got to carry these
No.
packs. These packs are like 150 pounds thrown on your back. Got to walk across these portages, lake to lake. Do you
That
guys
sounds
know
terrible.
Do you know what a latrine is?
The bathroom.
Yes, thank you, Chad. Yeah, think about that with a million mosquitoes and spiders. But guess what? It was an absolute blast. It was so fun. Bachelor party 1 of 2. Bachelor party 2. We go back up north. Shouts to my friend Joey getting married. Shouts to everyone else that was on the trip. We talked about this pod a little bit. So they're probably listening. Shouts to everyone. It was a blast. It was a fun trip. Something I never thought I would do. Something I never got invited to because everyone thinks I wouldn't do that. But hey, here we are. But we're back. We're back. And might have had a couple blown tires of my own. So like Chad said last week, head over to Danco Transmission and Auto Care. Tell him Joey sent you. Tell him Triage Latrine Trevine. Tell him they sent you. Tell him Alec Pierce sent you down at Will Adams Lake House. Tell them the boys are here. Boys are back in town. We're ready to talk Bearcats over at Danco Transmission and Auto Care. Danco Joe will hook you up. $10 off next oil change. 10% off your next fixing over at Danco Transmission and Auto Care. Gentlemen, the Big 12 didn't release a media poll, right, Chad? Correct?
They did not do a media poll at all. They asked the media to do all conference teams, but no media poll rankings. After the past 3 years, the media has proven to be very bad at ranking teams in the preseason.
Safe to say. My first question on this, Ryan, how much bulletin board material-esque was a preseason media poll ranking for the conferences back when you were playing?
It was kind of tough because after the first year, we don't really have much expectations to be landing anywhere besides the bottom of the pack after we went 4-8. So it was kind of like we knew we were a better team. We were kind of just focusing on ourselves, and then really after that, we were always right at the top of the preseason rankings, being the way we kind of dominated the American Athletic Conference year after year. But if I were to tell the guys, I think you got to just look inward. Don't pay too much attention to that stuff. Kind of like how we saw last year with Arizona State, just kind of coming out of nowhere and making a run. You gotta worry about all the improvements that we definitely need to make this season. I think we're in a good spot to make them, like I was talking about last week. But really, it's just kind of smoke and mirrors. Don't pay too much attention to it when you got a lot of work to do. I think there's enough internal motivation on that team, and I think it's been preached upon, this whole off season. And I think the guys are confident. So I think these guys just need to focus on themselves right now and then kind of hit the ground running into fall camp.
Yeah, I do find it interesting because I guess national perception does get pretty twisted when you do put an Arizona State at the very bottom of the preseason ranking, and then all of a sudden they rattle off some wins, and it's like, how real is Arizona State? And then it takes until the end of the year and then actually mathematically getting into the Big 12 championship game, and then people are like, oh, this team's actually pretty damn good. And now all of a sudden they're at the top of the pecking order these days. So it's funny, Ryan, the media, they don't do a media poll. They don't release a Big 12 media poll. But then guess what happens? The media gets together and they release their own media poll. I think it's spectacular. It's just fantastic. Chad, you were a part of this.
I was.
Before we dive completely into it,
do you want my poll?
Yes, actually that would be fantastic. Let's do a compare and contrast to the final results and your poll that you submitted here, because this was released on by Tim Fitzgerald 10 hours ago. So a good top to bottom point value rankings. Looks like they also put in parentheses the number, the first place votes. I imagine that's what those are.
Yeah.
So Chad, your officially unofficial Big 12 media poll results.
Do you want me to start at 16 or you want me to start at 1?
Ooh, I like 16, back up to 1.
16, Central Florida.
Oh, of course. Those Knights of Gold. Very good.
Their roster is a hot mess.
Yeah.
Like, they got a long way to go before they're good again, I think.
Okay.
15, Arizona. 14, Houston, but I wouldn't be surprised to see them a little higher.
Okay.
Willie Fritz has always been good at rebuilding and getting teams back to where they need to be. I wouldn't be surprised to see Houston move up. I think this group from like 8 to 14 is pretty jumbled, maybe even 7 to 14, but I think 8 to 14 is pretty tight. Houston at 14, West Virginia at 13, Colorado at 12. And I could see Colorado being 15th, 16th if they don't get quarterback right. I mean, think about, they had their major issues. They had 2 of the best players in college football.
Right.
We'll see what it looks like without Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders.
Without Shedeur literally running for his life and throwing and making circus plays. Yes, correct.
11, Oklahoma State. 10, Cincinnati. 9, Kansas. 8, BYU. 7, TCU. 6, Baylor. 5, Utah. 4, Texas Tech. 3, Arizona State. 2, Iowa State. Number 1, Kansas State. I got a Farmageddon Big 12 title game.
The old Farmageddon. I like it. And your voting isn't too far off from what the final poll was on the collective. One for the collective was obviously went to the reigning Big 12 champion, the Arizona State Sun Devils. 2, Kansas State. 3, a tie for 3rd, Texas Tech. The big money Red Raiders. 3, also Baylor. 5th, Iowa State. 6th, Utah. 7, TCU. 8, Kansas. 9, BYU. 10, Colorado. 11, Houston. 12, Cincinnati. 13, Oklahoma State, then West Virginia, UCF, and Arizona to round it out. Aaron, you've got a pulse on it. Chad, I'm going to come back to you after this. Aaron, you've got a good pulse on the Big 12. Where do you kind of see in this, and any of those teams? Obviously, we're months away from the official kickoff of college football season, but do you see any teams that kind of you disagree with on their ranking in the pecking order? Is it as easy as saying maybe Cincinnati should be higher than 12th, or do you kind of see this lining up similar to where your perception is of the Big 12?
I will never, ever say Sonny Dykes deserves to be in the top half of anything. So I would not have had TCU in the top half of the conference. That said, BYU with their recent quarterback situation seems a little high at 9, because you wonder how much money they had involved and how much faith in the quarterback that they thought was going to lead them back to at least a winning record again. So
I'll get my thought on that real quick, Aaron. They're
go
really
ahead.
tough to beat at home. They're really tough to beat at home. Like, that's the only reason I've got them in the middle of the pack. If it wasn't for the fact that going into Provo and winning has just been a nightmare, I thought with where I wanted to put them, but they're going to get 2 or 3 extra wins, I think, just because going into that place, playing at 10, 11 o'clock at night, like whatever it is, I think it gets them an extra 2-3 wins, and that gets them up to the middle of the pack. That's the only reason I had them higher. Like, without Retzlaff, they're certainly not one of the top half in terms of talent. But, man, they're tough to beat at home.
So I think that there's just a question mark there. I don't know that I necessarily disagree with 9, but I think there's probably a bigger question mark on BYU than maybe any team in the conference at this point in time. Simply because you don't know. And this isn't like, Ben goes down and we're throwing in, his backup. This is very different. You just don't know what you got here. So I'm curious to see how that plays out. That said, I think it's tough to put Oklahoma State all the way down at 13 because traditionally that guy doesn't have back-to-back bad seasons.
Yeah.
So outside
He's
of that,
also never had a season that bad, man. They bottomed out.
It was bad.
Bottomed out.
And they should have had a guy, honestly, in a Heisman conversation. In Ollie Gordon, and I don't know what happened. The wheels fell all the way off with Ollie Gordon. So I don't know. Again, I'll be surprised if they finish lower than 10, truthfully, because again, I don't think he has bad seasons, two seasons in a row. Maybe he's washed. I don't know. We'll see. West Virginia, probably between West Virginia, BYU, and UCF, I don't know that there's more question marks on any one of those teams. You could make an argument for being the biggest question mark in the conference. That said, they're probably all in the right place. They're just a real who's who between those rosters at this point. And then Arizona's just they stink. They're bad.
Yeah. Then they lost some key pieces as well, so continue being bad most likely. But Ryan, I guess I'm going to bring you in for this one. Cincinnati 12th in this, kind of pulled together by all the different 247 websites that cover the Big 12 teams. Is that harsh? Is that where you would expect? Is that they prove it that you're better than this, or is it kind of a little bit higher than maybe the way that the last couple of seasons have gone, or what's your pulse on just 12th out of the entire Big 12?
We haven't really proven much here, and you got to remember these guys, they don't have the inside access of like being able to talk to guys like Nico and Coach Satterfield and being able to watch practice and kind of see how these guys that we brought in, how they're meshing on the team. So just going off of like, we haven't really made any momentum, so to say, record wise, and like what we put out on the field the past 2 years. from a media's perspective, looking at this team, it's like, all right, we brought our some of our best players back, but when we had those guys here last year, they didn't really produce much, and they didn't amount to a successful conference winning percentage. So I think it's fair. I think it's fair for us to be down at the bottom right now, just looking at, like, if you don't know anything really about the types of players we brought in, how they've been performing, if you don't really look into the details of, Coach Veit and what he wants to do on the defense this year and the guys he's brought in to help kind of make that a more exotic defense in the back half. Looking at Sorsby for, I think, the potential we believe he has, adding more weapons for him on the outside, keeping the weapon of Joe Royer. It's easy for us to be like, yeah, we're not number 12. And I don't agree. I don't agree with that. I don't think that's where we're going to land. I think we're going to shock some people and really push that 8-win mark this year. But I think it's a fair place for us to be at from a media's perspective. And like I said, it doesn't really matter. The players shouldn't think much about it. The players should be like, yeah, we haven't done anything to deserve to be in a higher spot. So let's go prove to ourselves first, prove to our university, and then the media, they can kind of watch it from afar, and then we can start, climbing up those power rankings week in and week out.
The one thing that I do think is super interesting is this stuff does not generally include something like special teams. And I think there is going to be a significant difference in special teams this year. Like when you really dig into like that 5-game losing streak, the special teams played well for the most part the first 7 games. And then they got to that back end of the schedule and it fell apart. Like they went from one of the best field position, plus minus in college football almost immediately to one of the worst in like from before the Arizona State game to after the Arizona State game, it just fell off a cliff. And I think they're going to have the best punter in the conference. I think that potentially they could have the best player in the conference at 3 positions: nose tackle, tight end, and punter. And I mean, if you're in that
maybe
situation where
too.
Potentially, I mean, the quarterback bunching is very tight in this league. So, it's going to take a lot for him to get up to top 5, but I think they could legitimately have the best player at 3 positions. And if you have that, you should be successful. Like, you might not win the conference, but you should be a successful team in the conference.
Yeah. And other thing, Chad, I know Fletch was like going through some stuff last year, but it also doesn't. You're able to kind of pad stats in the front half of the year when you're going against like special teams, Island of the Misfit Toys with those like mid-major teams. And that's really what it is, man. Like being able to, you're just like pick and place guys when it comes to some of those schools. But being able to, I agree with you, Chad. I think it's going to be a lot better. Brought in a hungry young coach coming up from a mid-major level, looking to make a name for himself, compounding that with Little Fletch, who I think is just as good as Mason. And I think he's going to really take a big step this year and kind of, I'm hoping he can kind of overtake the potential that Mason had if he wasn't going through those injuries and stuff.
I'm just telling you from what I saw in practice, he kicks a much more impressive ball, or at least in the condition that Mason was in last season and the season before with the sports hernia.
Yeah. Another thing also with Luke Pascal coming in, hopefully there is a bit of a plan on punt and kickoff return. Because I've said it numerous times on these pods. It's just like, that hidden extra yardage that we just have not had for 2 seasons. And sure, I think a lot of it is playmakers. have to do with it. And Cincinnati's had some hell of playmakers years prior, but this could be the chance for someone to really hone in and lock in and try and find that extra yardage and a couple of explosive plays that you can make through the special teams. Because boy, it was pretty bad at times the last couple of years.
It's brutal.
So, yeah,
brutal.
Yeah.
The last 5 games were just terrible.
It's huge in
There
those
was-
coin flip games, man. It's such a big factor.
1 to 2 just absolutely critical mistakes on special teams in every game.
Yeah.
Through those last 5.
Yeah, and I think we have a better team this year, and I think we're going to be in more games, either when we're up three or 7, or we're within 10, and us play on special teams can like get us right back into the game or put us in a lot better position to go put more points up on the board, extend leads, and kind of keep it at a safe distance, striking distance. So I completely agree that special teams needs to be an improvement, and I think it will be.
It should be.
Yeah, and it's all about how much more of an improvement will yield even better results. I think it's going to keep us right in that mix in a lot of games.
So 12 is what it is. Obviously, like you mentioned, Ryan, the access we have talking to Nico and hearing from Sat and Tyson Vite and pretty much the entire coaching staff throughout the offseason does kind of lend an ear to like that anticipation and excitement to take that next jump. But if you do take a step back, you look in and you're like, well, let's be honest here. They went on a pretty bad losing streak to end last season, and they weren't very good the year before. So 12 sounds about right from an outside media person looking.
You got to earn it.
Yeah. So I think that's the main takeaway at this point. But the other main takeaway is the fact that they do have a couple of big time players. Two of those players were listed as, obviously we're going to transition into what is happening starting tomorrow. Hopefully Keegan makes it down there, Chad. I saw that. What was it? Frontier Airlines giving him some troubles.
They canceled the flight. So
they canceled it?
Yeah.
Wow. Whoa.
He's trying to get down there either late tonight or first thing tomorrow morning.
Wow. Canceled it. You know what? This is when I'll shout out Sun Country. They did a fantastic job getting me to Minneapolis and back to Minneapolis. And then my good friend Dave hopped in the car, drove me all the way up north to Ely, Minnesota. That's all I'm going to mention on that. But one thing that is not happening in Ely, Minnesota, instead is happening down in Frisco, Texas. That is right, Ryan. It is the Big 12 Football Media Days powered by Microsoft Copilot. No free ads. This week at the Star in Frisco, Texas. Your Bearcats have Brendan Sorsby, Joe Royer, Gavin Gerhardt, and the Godfather Dante Corleone heading down there with Coach Sat. So we're going to go around the horn. Give me your singular biggest storyline heading into Big 12 Media Day for the Cincinnati Bearcats. What do you think will be the main question that each of those players and Coach Sat kind of gets ringing in their ears, and what is slowly become a very big make or break type season for the Bearcats in different ways, if you will? Chad, start with you. Go to Aaron and then go to Ryan.
I mean, for Sorsby, it's going to be, can you finish? Can you do what you put on tape at the beginning of the season and turn that into a full season of success? Like, it's great to look as good as he did for 6-7 games, but when you finish as bad as he did on the back end, like, you're going to have a tough time getting people to believe in you. And this is a big year for him. This is his really chance to, like, I'm an NFL type quarterback. Mm-hmm. He's got the size, he can move, like, he's got all the intangibles that you're looking for, but he's got to deliver. And I think really for this offense to take that next step, I know not all of it's on him. Some of it's the wide receivers and, the other things that go into having an effective offense. But a lot of it is quarterback, man. Your quarterback has to be great, and Sorsby has to go back to being the guy we saw at the beginning of last season and not the guy we saw at the end.
Yeah. And I mean, that's kind of the also thing is I hope he does kind of get questioned a little bit about the pass catchers, who he sees as, someone he can rely on heading into next year outside of Joe Royer, because you can't really take too much from all these press conferences. Obviously, there's no like groundbreaking news that we're going to hear that we haven't really already heard, but I kind of do peek an ear to, who he might mention in the first couple of names as like potential, pass catchers that he has built a connection with in the off season. Kind of who he mentions out of the backfield that he thinks. I'm sure he'll be asked who's going to replace Corey Kiner. What does he instantly say? Tawi and Evan, or does he kind of go a different route and mention Manny Covey and the other running backs that are available? So interested to see his kind of answer on the other players that kind of have piqued his interest throughout the offseason. But Aaron, what biggest storyline on your end?
I think they've got to ask Satterfield how he's going to get over the hump of making a bowl game and putting together a winning season. You've got an awful lot of continuity from last season as far as coaching staff goes. You really only made one major change, as Kerry Combs is no longer here, and you move into bringing in a special teams coordinator. You brought back pretty much all the players that you really would want to bring back. And so you've got an awful lot of continuity there, especially when you talk about guys who could have entered the NFL draft that come back, guys like Joe Royer, guys like Dante Corleone. So you've got to figure out a way to put it all together. And thus far in Satterfield's tenure here, he obviously hasn't been able to do that. And I think you've got to see where his head is and how you put it all together and build a winning season and bring back a winning culture in a team that's – and a fan base, truthfully, that's starving for it.
Yeah, I think hopefully that's a hard hitting one that we get a good answer to. But I don't know. Big 12 media days are always interesting. Media days to me in general are always interesting. And coaches like Coach Prime kind of make it a big event, but for the most part, it is what it is. But yeah, I would like the hard hitting questions to come. Ryan, do you have kind of a overarching theme or storyline that you're going to keep an eye out for?
Yeah, I kind of combining Aaron and Chad in a way where you have them all sitting up there. It's all the guys that have produced. They're like the guys we wanted to bring back. And you go to Coach Satterfield, you're like, Coach, you got guys back on your team here that you obviously believed in and you wanted back, but it's coming off of a second year of disappointment in a row. What did you feel like these guys brought to this team that wasn't really able to be shown in wins and losses last year? And why are you confident in bringing them back, that why it's going to be different this season? And I know we kind of have our own opinion on those things where it's, hey, like, we got our core group of guys that are back here that produced, but we were really missing like continuity across all three phases of offense, defense, special teams, continuity from the weight room to the coaching staff. You could kind of see how Nico made a big emphasis on that this year by intertwining strength training directly to football and on the field, measurables. So just kind of seeing how, because, when you have Coach Satterfield on the podcast, you have like Nico on the podcast, you have Vite on the podcast, like it's hard to really kind of, ask the same types of questions and get like the same types of answers. Because, they want to talk about like, oh, guys that are back or guys we just picked up, how things are looking, but they're not going to go into too much detail on like scheme and whatnot. But I really like the continuity that I've felt, I've heard from all those different coaches, and just I'd love to hear how Satterfield could like take all that and kind of give one like answer like forward and kind of see his vision and how he feels like things are going to change coming up this season.
Gosh, please give them the hard ones, because it obviously the whole fan base wants to know what are going to be those definite changes, and are they ready to make them, and have they made them so far in the offseason, and this, that, and the other. Chad, I'm going to bring you back in because obviously you were at each one of the spring practices. So obviously don't want to look too far into, having 3 offensive players and then Dante there as the players that came with Coach Sat to the media days. Well, Ryan, I guess you can kind of answer this too. Probably more so just of a captain type thing, and there might have just been more offensive captains.
Those are your team leaders, yeah.
Right. At this point, do you think that it's a nod to maybe the offense being kind of a little bit more established and having the 3 key returners and 3 key leaders, and then the defense obviously led by Dante, but kind of a little bit more of a who's going to step up outside of Dante scenario? Or is it just?
I think so.
No, I don't think that as much. Like, we still, like, on offense, who are the wide receivers? How good are they going to be at tackle? Like, we think Joe Cotton's going to be great. I haven't seen Joe Cotton take a snap in a Bearcat uniform. Like, how does he translate up a level? I know they're very excited about him, and he's got the potential to be very good, but we don't know that. So I don't think it's a matter. I mean, if you had to ask me right now, I think the defense is ahead of the offense going into the season.
Okay.
Personally, I expect the defense to have a really, really good year. I'm not sure about the offense in some phases. So I think it's just a matter of that's where your captains lie as much as anything. I wouldn't read too deep into it personally.
Your established visual and vocal leaders are heavier towards the offense. And I think you got good production on defense, but production from guys who are only entering their second year on the team. And I think if you look at like a Joe Roy or Brennan Sorsby, it's only their second year, but their amount of production and kind of how they've been leaned on as leaders, now they've stepped up as leaders, as we've heard from Nico. I think that's kind of why you see those guys, with more presence at the media days. But it's kind of the same. Like, I think we have a lot of guys on the team that have produced, and we brought in a lot of guys that have produced elsewhere, and that we've heard that to expect production. So don't look too far into like, there's only, there's these guys are being represented at media day, but we're going to want as many leaders, as many like program faces as we can get, because that's the sign of a great team. So I think once you see fall camp starting to roll around and kind of see who's showing up, listen to the guys post practice, kind of what they're about, and listen to the coaches kind of, name drop people and how they're stepping up as leaders, how they're stepping up production. I mean, that's what's really, I think that's a lot more indicative and more important. So don't read too much into it.
Okay. I haven't seen a schedule release yet, other than just saying that they're going to have, the certain teams on Tuesday, the other teams on Wednesday. I know Cincinnati is on Tuesday. It'll be on ESPNU, ESPN Plus, and then some of it live on ESPN2. It starts at 10:30 a.m. Central Time and it goes till 3 p.m. Central Time. So get your clocks ready. If you're a sleeper inner, then set that alarm, wake up, tune in, listen to the sweet symphonies of Mr. Royer, Mr. Satterfield, see what they have to say about the Bearcats' upcoming season. But one thing that came out today, guys, because obviously Chad, I'm sure you're going to dive in more to the Big 12 media days with Dave after they transpire and kind of what storylines come out of it. Coming into it, we've been talking about that all for months. So more to come on that, obviously, with Keegan. Let's hope he gets there, man. Jeez, I guess he could just hop in the car, go the Sorsby route and just start driving. But I'm sure that'll take a hot minute. But a special thing came out today. Aaron, I want you to tell me how that special thing has been so far today, and Chad, how that special thing has been so far today. Got a 92 overall, sitting at nose tackle for a certain team that we know near and dear, and then a handful of other players that are pretty decently rated. How is NCAA football 2026?
I'll start only because I haven't really gotten to the gameplay itself. I pretty much started a dynasty on NCAA College Football 26, which came out at noon today. Didn't really get into it. I'm watching kids all day, so I haven't had really any time. Started a dynasty, but just kind of was really on there solely just to mess around with the recruiting, which seems like they've turned it up a notch. It looked a little more difficult than it was last season. I started a dynasty just with Akron, just to mess around as an offensive coordinator. That's the worst team on the game. I think they were ranked like a 61 or something, god awful. But yeah, Cincinnati, I think, was a 79 on their roster. There were some names I was unfamiliar with on the roster, so I think they're just some fill-ins, particularly at tight end.
Grover wasn't on there. Zahersky was.
Gavin Grover was on there.
Oh, I didn't see him on mine.
Grover was like third or fourth string, but Patrick Gerd was definitely not on there. But there's some guys missing, and last year the same thing happened, where a couple weeks went by after the game came out, and some guys had FOMO, and they were able to get in on the first patch that came out. And there's plenty of coaches missing, although this is the first year that there are coaches on the game. So, but you're missing Prime, you're missing Bill Belichick, you're missing. I think there's like at least a dozen, if not more, coaches on the game missing. Trent Dilfer, I remember that's another name. But there's some guys that are big time in us. They don't want their name on there. They're big time in us. Of course, North Carolina was confused on whether they should put Bill Belichick or his girlfriend on there as the head coach. So
Jordan. Yeah, that would be nice. Yes. Pause. But I guess so. Is it sat with hat or is it visor sat? That's the question.
Hat sat with a hat.
Wow, they did their homework there.
Sat in the hat.
I like that. Sat in the hat, and then I did see the Bearcat.
Scott Hatterfield.
So they said Lucille was going to be in it. Did they just like think that was the Bearcat's name, or is Lucille?
I think so. No, I don't think there's the actual Binturong.
Okay.
I have not seen the actual Binturong in the game.
Wouldn't that be wild? Oh man,
would be.
Yeah.
Although they haven't done that thing with the zoo in years.
I know. Yeah. Gosh, they used to have Lucy over there at Fifth Third Arena walk by, say hi. What a great time. Chad, it sounds like you have been able to get a little gameplay in. How's Sorsby looking? What's who you throwing bombs to Caldwell? We handed off to Tawi and Pryor. What's going on?
As is typical with this game when it comes out, passing is really difficult out of the jump. So you're much better off working on the run game early and then learning how to pass as you go, because the pass game is it's a challenge.
Yeah. Well, I'm interested to hear how the developments go for you guys. I did want a couple more tidbits, and then we're gonna riff real fast. Royer, need to know real quick, because I don't think we got your public words on either of these two things that have happened since you and I have last been on the airwaves together. But first off, IPF. Second off, Jersey. Your thoughts on both of those and how special that night, where what was it? Just all alumni were invited to the IPF, and you were able to kind of take in all that and get a tour and whatnot. Tell us about that. Obviously, it was weeks ago, but it's still very prevalent in the nowadays. So that, and then the jersey reveal. Your thoughts on the jersey?
Yeah. IPF is first class. It's up there with the best of the best. And you go around talking to people who've been at other places, who have friends at other places, and it's a consensus, like, this is top of the line facility in the country. And you walk in and you believe it immediately. I mean, the training room is unbelievable. They got water treadmill, normal tub, cold tub, hot tub, steam room, sauna room. Nico's dungeon just looks awesome. The only complaint is the weights are just so new, so they're a little slippery on the hands. So I'm a little worried about the guys. Don't drop them on your feet or anything when you're getting nasty in there on those Friday lifts. The meeting rooms are unbelievable. And now they got each position group has their meeting room, and then offense and defense have their own like joint meeting room, and then they have the full team meeting room. Locker room, we can only see like a section of the locker room, but it looks great. Like the full recline chairs, like the great signage above with the players' names, where they're from. You could see they had barber chairs like out in the corner of one of the locker rooms. So, you know, they're going to be doing get the guys some lineups before the games, or I don't know. It might be like full time or something. I don't know what their plan is, but that's pretty cool. The dining hall just looks unbelievable, and they got up all healthy, nice, good snacks. They weren't rocking around with Rice Krispie treats and Skittles and Sun Chips like like we were. But what else was it that was really stood out?
Who gave you the tour? Was it Nico?
Got to talk to Nico in the weight room, but I didn't get a personal tour. It was kind of like you walk in. I think there were some donors there. So I think like the donors, and then maybe Tony Pike was in there. Got to chop it up with him a little bit. He's a great guy. I don't know if he got a personal tour, if he's just, you know, he's a has-been now. Maybe if he doesn't give enough money, you get the personal tours or something. But it was kind of like mingle around and walk through as you please. So, I mean, UCAT's, like, they put on like such a great event. Like, they had like food, like open bar, like seating all over the field. It was very well ran, and I think that's indicative of how well built and well operated that building already is moving at, because you got, you know, a great donor base, you got a great athletic staff that really all pulled together and really made this thing happen. And I was there with Ty Sponseller, and they got the lounge room. It's got 2 pool tables, ping pong. Then they got like 6 TVs. Each TV has its own PS5. And we were just sitting there like, I couldn't even imagine like the types of things that would be going on post practice. It's just, you're just running ones on Madden 2K just all night long. Like we were like, we would never leave.
No,
because like we thought we were crazy, because we would mingle around there till like 8 o'clock a lot of the times. Because, you know, you just like hanging out with your guys, and it's like at this point you can just go sleep in your damn locker with that freaking recliner bed they got now. So that's good. It's going to make the guys want to be in there, and that's where you really build your team chemistry, especially now when you got like portal transfers and guys aren't like, they don't really know much about the program. They're trying to hit the ground running, but you got something like that where guys are going to want to be there. They're going to want to be around each other, and that place just gives those guys every opportunity to maximize their camaraderie, maximize their health, their training. So big tip of the cap to everyone involved with that. That place is awesome. So I can't wait to check back in on that place and kind of see how the guys are liking it. But I can't imagine they wouldn't just be in love with it 24/7. So super happy for everyone.
You want to tell him, Brent?
I mean, I did say Lucy at the old Fifth Third Arena, which was the case. Lucille is
the new Binturong,
current
the
Binturong.
current Binturong.
Yeah.
Lucy retired, right?
Yep.
She's still alive, but she's no longer doing games. And they brought in a new one and named it Lucille. Are you even a fan, Crypt Keeper? If you don't know who Lucille is?
Boy, he asks me that every week. You know what? I missed that question this past week. Speaking of Binturongs, we had a mascot at one of our campgrounds in up there in Minnesota. It was Chippy the chipmunk. It was Chippy the chipmunk, and Dave tried to feed Chippy the chipmunk a little bit of his cracker with peanut butter, and Chippy the chipmunk bit Dave's finger. We did not have Chippy the chipmunk as a mascot anymore after that. So we canceled Chippy after that. But yeah, Ryan, continue with the new heights reveal of the uniform was awesome. By the way, shouts to Jason. And guys, we keep inching closer and closer to seeing Taylor Swift don a Sea Paul. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. We are very close to seeing it happen. So. But really cool to see that kind of unveil. And then, of course, the Bearcat Twitter did their thing, or X, if you will. I think I saw someone tweet it. Yeah, Clay Bollinger, 4.9 million impressions across all Go Bearcats football accounts last week. It's the most in Twitter history in the Big 12 Conference. I don't know if that is confirmed, but I'm going to say it's confirmed because Clay Bollinger said it was confirmed. Wow, just a cool unveiling. That was the first thing that I saw when I got service back, was just like boom, 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 blast, blast, blast. And I was like, oh my gosh, nothing changed. Let's keep the good ball rolling. But your thoughts on the uniform? It's a cool kind of old school, new school look, but obviously kept certain things the same. But overall, pretty crisp, pretty clean.
Yeah, I liked them. I thought they're pretty cool, and you can kind of tell, like, this is what actually getting over to Nike and Jordan looks like. I mean, there was you could tell there's a lot of effort in the details, a lot of continuity, like from top down. The one I will say, the one thing I was like, damn, I'm still gonna. There's something about that number font that of all the old jerseys that just I'm gonna miss, because it just felt like ours.
Yeah.
It just felt like it was Cincinnati. Like I don't mind getting rid of the triangles and all that stuff. I like I thought the new stripes is a good look. I liked what they did there. The numbers on the shoulders, I think, looks good too. But I also liked how they're like, all right, if we're gonna kind of get rid of the number font that was kind of unique. I liked how they kept it consistent with the number font matches, like the Cincinnati nameplate font. I thought that was at least I'm glad they like put effort towards that. So like, all right, there's unity between, like, that number has an identity. Yeah. Has its own, it's connected to the university, connected to like the nameplate. The reds look sick. I mean, I like that red, how they made that special red color. Like, what do they call it?
Lightning.
Yeah.
Lightning.
That looks good. I mean, they did a really good job with them. They look cool. I'm always gonna miss, like, what I loved our uniforms. I mean, nip at night, all black. You can't ever beat that. So I'm gonna miss, like, those little, like, things that made the uniform special, like when I wore it. But yeah. I don't think they did anything. They didn't do anything wrong. They didn't mess anything up. It looks clean. It looks sleek. Some new, it's like you said, some momentum, some excitement in a times where things haven't been exciting. So who knows? Maybe a little new uniform can mean new results this year. So time to break them in the right way.
I would like that. Aaron, I haven't heard your thoughts on the uniform on the airwaves yet. Can you sprinkle them into the listeners' ears?
I gave my thoughts on a nightcap, but
I missed it. Damn it! Sorry.
That's all right. No, I like them. I just wish there was something uniquely Cincinnati, where we've seen the scratches on the pants. We've seen the triangles. I would have liked to see them figure out something, some way, somehow, to be something uniquely Cincinnati outside of just the name mark and the
And the
logo,
red
the
one.
CPAL logo.
Yeah.
So that's my only gripe. Like, I mean, Chad and I kind of discussed it. I mean, you could have done something like maybe incorporate a couple triangles in one of the leg stripes, just at the top, like maybe 3 or 4 quick little triangles or something. I don't know. I know Chad hates the triangles.
Triangles suck, Aaron.
That's
Triangles
fine,
are out. That's
and then
they're out.
get rid of the whole building.
Trigonometry is out. Out.
But I would have liked to see something. I just think they're without making it too busy. I just think they're a little dull.
Yeah.
And I know they were going for clean, and they got it. It's clean. It's just you could almost put any team in those uniforms, just swapping out the logo and the nameplates.
Yeah. Maybe like somewhere on like maybe like down like their side right here for each uniform, have like each player's personalized Skyline Chili order. That would be pretty cool.
That's silly.
That would be pretty cool. Talk about personalized. That would be awesome. But yeah, I like them. I do like the Reds. I do like the all whites. I'll be interested to see if they kind of do the mix and matches like they've always done with, white top, black pants. Yeah, right. So be interested to see how they mix and how they match. But yeah, that, like Ryan was saying, it's new, it's fresh, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, okay, this is it's a whole new team. Let's see if they can bring some wins in with this new look. So Chad, that was pretty cool hearing a little bit like behind the scenes look of it on the BCJ pod that you guys had. So go back and listen to that if you're a uniform buff. It was a good thing. But man, we're getting closer and closer to that. The Nebraska Cincinnati game. It is the Kansas City Classic with Battle Sports on ESPN.
Yeah.
There we go. No free ads. Anything else football, or shall we go ahead and timestamp and then we can riff?
Royer and Corleone, first team all conference nods.
Yes, that's correct.
I think that's important.
First team all conference nods, and also one I don't remember. Last year, was it Kendra and Corleone were the first team guys again? Yeah. So I mean, shoot, just live up to it, man. And yet again, gosh, I think Sorsby is someone that has a good awareness of where the outside media and outside people that make these lists kind of mark him at in the conference. And I think he's probably listening pretty hard at it. So I hope that's just further knowledge to him and further ability for them to amp up. But yeah, it's good to see Dante yet again getting recognition. I think he goes out on a high note. I truly do. I think it's kind of conversations have kind of been like, okay, the Godfather's a Godfather, and I think he starts to make some loud noise this year. And then of course Royer's got that first round talent. I'm excited to see what he can do. Also did want to mention that the betting odds are rather consistent with the 247 sports odds. Cincinnati is the 11th or 12th team on over-under win totals right now on Circus Sports. So let's see what they can do. It's they're projected at 6 wins for the over-under. I'll take the over, but I think that's already known. Timestamp.
This timestamp brought to you by our good friends at Quick Paper Supply. Is this? I think we're done, right?
I would like to know who made the team for the trial.
Yeah, it was. Well, it's tomorrow.
Okay.
So we're gonna change it up for the final time. Quick Paper wants to plug in for their upcoming Canes, Ohio 10U tryouts for the 2016 season. This is tomorrow. So they're held July 8th at Moeller's new baseball complex. If you want to get in, last chance, reach out to Nick, 513-470-2029 to get registered for the tryouts.
Boom. Gosh, can't wait. We should get Nick on, just kind of give us an update on the tryouts afterwards and talk about quick paper supply more. That could be fun. It could be a fun little aside. While we wait for Ryan to come back so we can riff, did you guys know that when you go to a campsite, if someone's there, you cannot camp there. You have to go find another campsite upon the lakes. And you know what, Aaron? Do not decide to go hyperspeed when you are paddling in a canoe, because that will lead to very sore arms and very sore muscles you've never really worked before, and will lead to you sleeping Indian style on night one in the tent. So,
Crisscross applesauce.
yes, that is correct. Muscles I did not even know existed were hurting, and I had to take some magnesium. Shouts to my boy for supplying the magnesium. And that's Bryce for you guys who do not know. Shouts to Bryce. So go ahead, Ryan. Time to riff. I missed it last week.
I didn't think we were getting a magnesium shout out on tonight's pod.
Is that a good muscle relaxer or what?
I take magnesium L-threonate before bed every night. It does wonders. Puts me right to sleep.
Yeah, I popped 4 on night 2.
There you go.
It knocked me out for like a good amount of hours, and then I woke up and did the Indian style again. But golly, you want a good workout, man? Go canoe for 6 hours.
Yeah, I'm sure, man. That's why I stay away from it. I'm not too big of a fan.
Hey, man. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, so kind of touch it back on. You brought up Big 12 Media Days. My first question is, who do you think the surprise mention is going to be by either Satterfield or the players you think is going to get a lot of praise and hype that we may not be expecting to hear about?
That's a good question. Is the starting 5 offensive line pretty set in stone, you think, Chad? I know there's kind of that question mark on final tackle spot.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be Cotton, Tengestal, Gerhardt, Teo, Buford.
Right.
I think Buford played well enough last year when he finally kind of got like that number 1 spot. I thought he played well enough that like that's, something that is going to work in his favor.
Yeah, because I'd be interested to hear who Gavin kind of mentions if he's asked, like, who's really stepped up in that offensive line room, and kind of see where that leads. So I bet he'd say Tankstal or mention Tayo or I mean that weightlifting little video that they posted of Tayo getting that squat out. Man almighty, that was impressive.
That was like 610 pounds or something.
I don't know, more than I could do. That's for damn sure. Let's see here. I'd say, yeah, I'll go with a mention on the offensive line from Gavin to kind of stray away from the low hanging fruit of the ability to answer this question.
It's just who's going to be the first mention outside of the guys that are there.
Yeah, like if they ask, Sorsby about his pass, his pass catchers, is you going to mention someone outside of Goody, Cyrus, and Caldwell?
I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a running back. Whether you're talking about just taking the pressure off of him, not having to pass every down, whether you're talking about just what they bring to the table, again, talking about guys that aren't there, or whether you're talking about being able to make plays out of the backfield, which we saw Evan Pryor do plenty of times. I'm not sure which running back it's going to be, whether it's going to be Tawi or whether it's going to be Evan Pryor, but I'd be surprised if it's not a running back.
Chad, who you got?
I don't think we're going to, I mean, there's not a lot of defensive guys.
Right.
I'll go Dante talking about the return of Jalen Hunt and Micah Coleman, having his guys back that were supposed to be there, the depth that was able to be developed last year with those guys out. Now they return. I'll go strength of the overall defensive line. How's that?
I like that. Yeah, man. I was interested to see what Jake Golday is the second highest, rated player in NCAA football.
Game. Yeah.
2026.
88, I think.
Yeah. So, hey, man, I'm all for a Golday explosion onto the scene this year.
I think Sad will talk about the linebackers.
He's got the tools.
I think linebacker is strength of the defense.
Yeah.
Going into the year.
God, they're deep too, man.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. What?
It's my go.
Just you.
Go ahead, Ryan.
All right. You can only pick one to stay on the team between these two players.
Oh, God.
Dante Corleone.
Oh, my God.
Joe Royer.
Oh, my God.
All hypothetical.
Well, I hope so.
Like for this year?
Yeah.
Why the hell would I do that?
Well, I damn hope it's hypothetical. Golly,
Why would I do that?
Could you imagine like national
Tough question.
BBP releases?
I don't think it's that tough. I think it's Dante because I think that the depth in the tight end room is better than the depth on the defensive line. Not to mention you had injuries all over that defensive line last season, and you saw what that looked like when you're missing one guy, two guys, three guys, as opposed to the tight end room where I think that, I mean, we still don't know what Gavin Grover is. We know what he could be, but
yeah,
given the opportunity of the reps on the field, I think we see some things. We saw some things from Kamari in spring ball. Patrick Gerd would be immediately at the top of the list, I guess. Although I don't know that he'd be doing a ton of pass catching, but yeah.
So the reason I put this question up, they both. So Dante demands a double team. Last year, Joe Royer demanded a double T in such ways. So in order for the defense to be able to succeed, Dante is going to need to demand a double team to be able to help in the run. And when they don't, then he will, and we need him to make plays. Same with Joe Royer. Revamped receiver room. Sorsby is going to depend on the passing game. It's either going to be, all right, Sorsby's taking up a guy over the top. Like, this gives me a good one-on-one look with this receiver. Or, hey, they're not like showing a guy over on Royer. I'm going to go. That's an automatic. I'm looking for Royer automatically if I'm Sorsby, especially on third down. So that's kind of why I was thinking, I think these guys both, they have huge impacts. Royer on the passing game, Corleone on both I get a big on the run, especially with 3 down, but he also by being able to command double teams in the rush too. But
yeah,
kind of why I was thinking that one.
Yeah, I just think that that Dante is just so important to the entire defense. I think we saw. Obviously, we haven't really seen him out too much. He was out, a little bit in the beginning of last year. Yeah, I hate to say it, Joe. I love you. I know you're Ryan's cousin, so it'll be an easy fall down. But it's an opportunity for those behind to step up, and I just think having a player like you mentioned just demand double teams, open up lanes for the linebackers to fill, open up abilities for, one-on-one on the outside for pass rushes. So I just think Dante's got too much of an importance to the entire defense as a whole. But, it's not too bad having a tight end who has the most receptions in a single season in Bearcat history, more than Travis Kelce, the boyfriend of Taylor Swift. So I think the answer is to keep Dante.
I think I would go Dante too. Just his ability to really on every snap that he's on the field impact the way that the defense plays, the way that the offense plays, the way that they're trying to get, their rhythm going or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is, I mean, tight end is just, we've talked, it's just not a position group that sees the ball a lot. It felt like just honestly, it felt like last year Joe Royer did not get
Right.
as many looks as he should have. And he set the single season record for receptions. What's that tell you about tight end?
Thought about that the entire season. It's like every single BBP we would come on Monday and be like, dang, Royer only got 5 targets. He needs to be getting 10 to 12 every game. And then he just breaks the single season reception record. I agree.
So Dante. Although hopefully with a full group on the defensive line, Dante's not out there as much as he was last year and can maybe make more of an impact with a little bit less wear and tear on his body.
I think the harder thing also about that question is the fact that, like, even with Wiley, there was Lenny, like that. I feel like Joe's, yes, Gerd comes in, he's got the pedigree in the past of, playing at Ohio State, but he's not that pass catching threat.
Yeah, he was a blocking tight end.
Yeah, so it's makes
he's
it a
going
little
to be
bit
your
more
H
difficult.
back. He's going to
So then you would be relying on a big step up by Gavin, or probably seeing the true freshman get some time as well. So it would be interesting. Ryan, which one are you saying? Obviously, you know.
I'm going with Royer, because not a knock to Dante, but I think that this defense I think the defense is going to live and die, but with the secondary. I think that without them, that the defense isn't going to be. The potential of how good the defense can get is going to rely solely on the secondary. Can they cover? Can they tackle in space?
Mm-hmm.
Can they be able to show exotic blitz looks, exotic, mix up coverage schemes? And not to say that Dante isn't going to make an impact. I just think that if Joe Royer can spread out a defense, and if they have to pick between him and a receiver, and the receivers can be on the same page and be improved upon last year with Sorsby, I think having him in the middle of a defensive game plan, and if he can elevate his game and be one of the top tight ends in the country, I think that's going to be more critical for this team, because I think the offense, like Chad was saying, I think the defense is going to be ahead of the offense, and it's about the offense being able to catch up. And if you take Joe Royer out of there, I think that would be a huge, huge hit. That's kind of my take.
It's a good point.
Yeah,
good point.
I wonder if you would admit it, because I just see Dante kind of being the quarterback of the defense, if you will. I know that's more predicated towards a linebacker, but if it's Dante or Sorsby type thing. But yeah, I agree. I think Royer, with a good receiving corp, a consistently good receiving corp, is only going to be leaps and bounds more important and probably better than he was last year.
Yeah.
Good question, Ryan. God, you're good.
All right. Final question. What would be your fun, lighthearted question you would ask at Big 12 Media Day?
Aaron, what do we have?
I think I'd ask Coach Prime. I'd probably get kicked out for this. I think I'd ask Coach Prime how fast he's ever driven before.
Did you see the whole thing about LeBron at the same age as Shadur in Cleveland got a speeding ticket going the same mile per hour? So people are saying Shadur is LeBron now. Watch out.
as he's
Hey, us
also
Browns
being.
fans, we got to grab for any straw we can find.
Are they talking about sending him to the CFL?
Speaking
I
of the
thought I saw that
CFL, shouts to Zach Colaros, man. What a beast. What a beast. Ryan, are the Brownies liking Shadur?
I don't know jack shit about what's going on with the Browns.
That is a great synopsis on your front.
Just gonna keep it blunt and to the point.
I like that. Chad, what are you asking? You are, you know what, Chad? You are so quiet in those post-game press conferences. You never ask shit. So let's hear what you would ask.
Definitely not the hard questions.
Fun
No,
wise.
never the hard questions. I'd ask about the hat. Get it on, get it on a national. I asked about it the first day of spring practice. I think I'd go back to Sat in the Hat. Like, are we going Sat in the Hat? Are we going Scott Hatterfield? Why do you hate the visor now? Why did you guys break up? Like, I think I'd go in depth on the change of looks for Scott Satterfield.
I like it. Golly, I mean the low hanging fruit is asking what their Skyline chili order is. Obviously, I'd say, I'd ask them, what do you do to wind down after a fun win on Saturday? Because boy, I'd like to hear like some true answers, and I'm going to say, like, tell me the truth. By the way, don't give me some BS. Just literally tell me, because I think that a noon game, golly, after a noon game, if it's a win, Ryan, that's got to be one of the greatest nights of the week of your entire life.
Oh yeah,
Saturday night following a win after a noon game, golly, yeah. The math's on that one, Chad. The math does math. Believe me. I would ask them probably. Go ahead. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, I think there's some easy questions too with asking like Rich Rod and Scott Frost what it's like to be back when the entire landscape is completely different.
Scott Frost, are you aware?
You've only had one winning season.
You've only had one winning season as a head football coach. Are you aware of that?
Yeah. I think you are aware because you made it aware.
Scott, what do you say to somebody that says you've only had one winning season as a head football coach?
What would his answer be?
Next question.
Get out.
Please leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'd keep it lighthearted. Yeah. What did you guys do last night here in Frisco? Did it get Frisco-y? Something along those lines. See what they say, and then see.
Coach, you haven't been kicked by a cow this year, right?
Oh, okay. I like that one. Don't know where it came from, but yeah, kicked by.
You don't know Gundy got kicked by a cow last year?
Oh yes. That's right.
Kicked in the head.
Aaron loves the fact that Gundy got kicked by a cow.
I love it. Absolutely love it. I mean, that's wild.
Ooh, I would ask Sat. If you could pose with an animal in any picture to be posted on Twitter in preparation for the upcoming season, who would be the animal and would you ride it? That would be my question.
I worry about you sometimes.
Bulletin board material, because Rule was riding that ox or whatever that thing was.
I know.
Yeah.
Who's got the best hair? Which quarterback has the best hair, and why is it not Avery Johnson?
Oh, because it's Sorsby.
Does Brendan Sorsby have better hair than Avery Johnson?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a good question. I'd ask Dante how he likes his steak cooked, and then
well done with what ketchup,
or is it ranch?
No, it's ranch. Ranch.
All right.
Yeah, well done with ranch.
The more I think about it, I'm thinking that the new helmets should have the Skyline orders on the back of them.
Oh, the more you think about it.
Yeah. I'm just sitting here thinking about it. Ryan, what would be a silly question you would ask?
You kind of stole mine with what do you do after a win? I would love to hear Satterfield's truth.
Well, what did he say? Like, that he went to Red Robin or
No,
what
he
was
goes
it?
home and watches football.
Yeah. I think he went to the local Ruby Tuesday or something. He said something like that after one of them, but nah.
I'd ask Satterfield. I'd ask all the coaches to name their, what's that called? Like their all-time crush. They're like,
Ooh, okay.
what did you guys call it? Is it like
The one that
what
got
are
away?
they? No, the like your
hall pass?
celebrity crush. Yeah, that's what.
Celebrity crush. Wow.
Yeah,
Would love
get
to
all their
hear.
wives
I
pissed
would
off
love
at
to
'em.
see the coaches squirm to that question. I wonder who would I wonder who would hop like real fast on it. On a day Armis. Just make headlines. Before you know it, Coach Prime engaged to Ana de Armas. Be insane. But yeah, I digress. Ryan, you got one more for us?
Is it still bouncing around the cell towers? Has your phone finally figured it out?
It finally figured it out. I texted you. I sent you the video of my family doing the Glizzy Guzzler challenge on July
Whoa.
4th. And did you not get it?
I'm out.
It was a long video.
Y'all have fun.
It was a long video. It didn't come through.
It's a different 4th of July than I've had with my family.
Come on, it's a fun challenge. It's a fun challenge. And then we got to talking about eating hot dogs. And then before you know it, I said, did you know that after taking a break last year due to sponsorship issues, that Joey Chestnut reclaimed the mustard belt for the 17th time in front of a very enthusiastic crowd? But
It's
he did
so
not.
disgusting.
He did
Like,
not,
it is
however.
so disgusting.
He did not, however, beat his own record of 76 hot dogs set in 2021. Shouts to Google AI for that response about Joey Chestnut. I sent you that text. The video should be coming soon. Glizzy Guzzler Challenge. My team did win. We pulled out the dub. 52 seconds faster than the 1 minute 9 seconds from Team 1. So the question was,
What the hell is wrong with you?
the question was, because Chad, it is disgusting just watching Joey go to town on those.
It's so gross.
Dogs.
Like, it's so gross.
And well, the funny thing is, Joey, the friend of mine who I went on this bachelor party part 1 to up in Ely, Minnesota, boundary waters up near the Quetico, is he had a beer chugging contest with Joey Chestnut a couple weeks ago at the Indiana Pacers game. He lost, but I was texting you, Ryan. I said, hey, you have to enter just one food eating competition. It could either be speed, it could be heat, it could be most consumed. It's got to be a competition. What are you picking? Which one do you think you would succeed the most in, whether it be just lasting the entire 10 minutes or whether it be actually competing to win? And you said, hey, I haven't gotten your text yet, Brent. Call me. So I called you and you said, let's save it for the BBP. And here we are. BBP, Monday night. What's your answer?
I'm not really a speed eater.
I don't eat a lot. Like, I eat good, but I don't eat like heavy volume of food. So I don't know that there's anything. I guess I'd have to try like heat, but even that, like, I don't like eating shit that melts my face. Like,
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
I'd have to pick food I'd be okay not ever eating again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good way to approach it. Yeah. Wow. That's why I was going to say pizza, but now that you bring that up, Aaron, I don't think I want to do that because I would hate pizza for a while.
0% chance that you're not puking.
Yeah. Yeah. You'd have to hit up the latrine afterwards. There's no bugs hanging out there. Definitely not hot dogs. No way. Because golly, that looks difficult.
I'd just see how many chicken wings I can eat in an hour.
Go chicken wings, and when I'm
full, I'm go frog legs.
Frog legs?
Because you're never going to eat frog legs. Like, you're never going to eat frog legs again.
Exactly.
Why have you even eaten frog legs?
Yes, I've eaten frog legs, but I'd be okay not eating frog legs again. Like they're good, but
Like
I don't want to ruin chicken wings.
like
I
the
don't,
manager
I
and
don't want to ruin chicken wings. So
the
I think
manager
that's
and the
frog
water
legs.
boy, frog legs. I mean, I've never had those. Are they good? Is it like chicken?
A little bit.
They're okay.
Okay.
When seasoned correctly, they're better. They're far better
Okay.
when seasoned correctly.
Ed's
Yeah.
going cheese conies, Aaron. Ed,
Yeah,
I know.
like 8, 9 in a puke.
What did he try? He tried to beat Sean Casey. Did he beat Sean Casey?
He did not try to beat Sean Casey. Sean Casey asked him to eat 10, I believe it was, and he'd be on our show when we were still doing Pardon the Punctuation, and I think it was 8 actually, 8 in a puke. I think he claims 9. I'll have to go back to the tapes, but it was he ate 8, and then on the 9th one he threw up.
9.5. Yeah, I think it had to be something that like chicken wings, that where it's like not too much bread, but like something that you can just like go to town on.
He was supposed to eat a dozen. He ate 9.5. I still think it was only 8.
Maybe deviled eggs for me. Just a bunch of deviled eggs.
Don't ruin deviled eggs, man. They're
I
so
could
good.
slam those down. Maybe ribs. Yeah.
I could do ribs.
Yeah.
Pickle chips.
Brisket.
I hate pickles.
Sometimes I think I could eat the whole damn brisket. So brisket. Yeah, why not? But yeah, Ryan, that was what we were talking about, man. Very, very cool. Very, very cool, Mr. Chicken Wing Man. Very cool. Absolutely. That's how we riff here with Roar for Riff and Ryan Royer. But let's go ahead and timestamp this, and we got the mailbag coming up.
That timestamp brought to you by our good friends at Quick Paper Supply. I guess we'll go back to the regular Quick Paper Supply read here. They're a local and family-owned restaurant supply company for all your non-food products. They service over 150 restaurants with weekly low minimum next-day deliveries, providing a wide range of food service products from to-go containers, cups, custom printed products, eco-friendly, and much more. They also have cleaning and restroom supplies for all your janitorial needs. Call Nick, 513-470-2029, and reference Bearcats for 20% off your first month of purchases.
Boom, baby. Birdie's probably coming soon again, yeah?
Yeah, they just got started today.
Okay.
Coming back from the holiday, so
more
basketball. You don't want to go back to day one.
No. More basketball coming up later. But
yeah,
Aaron, it is that time, brother. Take it away.
Let's open up that mailbag. Starting off in the football portion of the mailbag. Also, by the way, if you're looking to sponsor something on this show, the mailbag's still looking for a sponsor.
No free ads.
Season right around the corner. Just saying.
Yes.
All right. Football portion of the mailbag. Which combination of offensive and defensive team MVPs get us the most wins? A, Tawee Walker and Matthew McDoom. B, Jeff Caldwell and Jake Golday. Or C, Evan Pryor and Micah Coleman. Sorsby and Corleone are sitting on the sidelines for this question. Well, if they're sitting on the sidelines, I don't know, but there is the most wins.
Probably Caldwell and Golday.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because that means that Cincinnati was really, really good at wide receiver 1, which is really good for Sorsby, and you would assume also really good for the running game. If you've got a guy that can stretch the defense and take the top off, and I don't think it's a stretch to say Golday will end up, especially knowing how that Iowa State defense works, where every year it felt like the linebackers were the MVPs. The linebackers were the guys winning first team all conference, whatnot and what have you. I think that's the runaway choice here, Caldwell and Golday.
Linebackers going crazy. I would think that also turns into interceptions, and that turns into forced fumbles, and that turns into the opposing offenses struggling.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely would rather have your linebackers as opposed to, remember we talked last year, like Canteen's going to be the MVP. Well, the problem is then your safety's making a lot of tackles, and that's not ever fun. A linebacker getting 110 tackles or whatever and being great, like that's, you can live with that.
We're all in agreement there.
Yeah, well, and also I think you could also have running back 1 and 1A, 1B type scenario with Tawi and Evan Pryor, thus making it hard for one of them to separate for offensive MVP.
And I think you're going to have that.
Yeah.
I think you're going to have that.
And
I don't think we're going to see one guy getting 20 plus carries. I mean, you could see Tawi like that, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know that I see Pryor doing that.
Like last year, you would pretty obviously say that Corey was the offensive MVP. Corey Kiner. And then defensively, I mean, Goldie had like that UCF game. He was making damn play after play, and just he
got banged up.
Yeah,
towards the end of the year.
Right.
So the numbers weren't really eye popping.
Yeah, he flashed though. So I think B runaway answer.
Anything to add, Ryan?
I second the Goldie and Caldwell.
All right. How many all-conference players do you think football will have? There are some obvious ones, but are there any guys that fans are truly sleeping on?
I mean, are we talking like first team all conference or like any all conference selection?
Probably any, I would think.
I'll go with my boy JT. I think Jonathan Thompson's going to have a great year.
Okay.
I think he makes a lot of tackles on the outside and jumps up into all conference conversation. Maybe as like a second or third, like, not as a first team guy, but as a guy that gets that recognition, gets the nod.
Yeah, I'd probably say an offensive lineman. Like if like
Teo.
Yeah, if he like lives. I mean, he was a Phil Steele second team all Big 12 selection. So, if like someone like him or jumps off the page and really dominates, but I think it's pretty obvious who the studs are. Maybe a cornerback. I don't know.
McDoom.
Yeah, McDoom kind of blasts onto the scene.
Christian Harrison.
I think it might be Xavier Williams before Christian Harrison, but I could see one of those guys having a good year. I just don't know. I think they're going to mix and match a lot. So I don't know if any of those guys are going to be out there like every snap, like your safeties normally are.
Mm-hmm.
Which defensive end takes advantage of the Dante Corleone double teams?
Yeah.
Yep.
That could be big. Nobody the past 2 years, unfortunately.
Fletch.
I think he's the best punter in the conference.
I would give him the nod.
Gosh, for how long will people be like, dang, Mason Fletcher's still here?
Look, I mean, like with their helmet on, like body type, like the way they move, it all is kind of similar.
Right.
On the game, they used the same exact head they used for Mason, actually.
Yeah.
All right. That is one more in football. How big do you think making the playoff would be this year? 2021 was massive, but after watching Arizona State and IU last year, I wonder if it lost some prestige.
Definitely.
Making the playoff has never lost prestige.
I think
playoff, you won the conference, or
I think
we're really good and didn't.
I think, but being a number 4 out of the American was more prestigious than winning the Big 12 and going.
Of course you do. You were part of it.
I think it's a little bit.
I think winning the Big 12 is more prestigious than winning the American.
Yes.
I kind of
There's
agree
more.
with
There's more
Ryan,
spots. There's more spots now.
I think I agree with Ryan though, because you could lose every game out of conference. Then you're like, this team sucks. And then you could just like rattle off all wins in the Big 12. And then all of a sudden you're like, the full body of work, I guess. Not great, but they won the Big 12 and now they're in the playoffs. So I just having it's still 12 next year, obviously. So who knows? I'd say that it's lost kind of a little luster, but don't ask an IU fan. They still act like it's the greatest thing ever, because it is for them. I think it would just be important to prove to the national landscape that Cincinnati is still a really good program, and it wasn't just a flash in the pan like it was once every 10 years. So I think it would be more important than 2021.
Is it bigger for Cincinnati or bigger for Scott Satterfield? Because there's plenty of people around the college landscape that don't think he's cut out for a Power 4 team.
Bigger for Cincinnati still. Long term, when Scott Satterfield's gone, people will still be talking about Cincinnati making the playoff that year than they would wherever Scott Satterfield is, I think.
Yeah, they don't mention Ryan Royer making the playoff that year. They mentioned Cincinnati making it. Yeah, I agree.
Shockingly.
I would mention that year Ryan Royer made the playoff.
Oh, I tell everyone that no. Bearcats did not make it. Ryan Royer.
Thanks, guys.
So much sense.
And my other friend Brady Collins. Shouts to Nico Palazetti.
All right. That's the football portion of the mailbag. Moving on to the basketball portion. In the upcoming season, which of the three major men's sports programs, basketball, football, baseball, has the greatest potential to really far exceed expectations, and which has the possibility of being the biggest disappointment?
Football, basketball.
Let's first. I'm interested, Ryan. What do you put as the expectation for each of those three?
My expectation is 7 wins, but we need 8. I've said it 100 times now.
Right. Welcome to summer podcasting.
Yeah. Expectations for basketball obviously has to be make the tournament and win. I think you have to win a game.
Okay.
You can't just. I feel like we should have been in the It's like, all right, well, the expectation was to make the tournament last year. We shit the bed. Now it can't just be like skate our asses into the tournament. How about this? Make the tournament, but you have to be a single-digit seed and win the first game. Baseball is make it back to the NCAA tournament as well.
Okay.
Baseball is interesting because there could be a fall off. I don't expect there to be a fall off, but you don't have Carrington Cross. You don't have Landon Vitterick. Those are where your two stars offensively. So they're going to have to, the small ball's great, but you still need some heat in the middle of that lineup. Yeah. So you're not scratching and clawing. So it will be imperative that they find some guys that can step up and hit in the middle of the order. And we saw that there was, a little bit of a lack of pitching depth. Did they get the right guys to address that in the transfer portal? I think both of those answers will be yes, but I think now that they've made it, the expectation is now getting back every year. I do think there are some challenges for baseball that are going to be interesting to watch.
Some of the Bearcats have been having some good summers so far.
Yeah.
I've been paying attention on the old Twitter.
Yeah.
So good to be seen as far as that goes. But yeah, I think that one probably has the possibility of being the biggest disappointment, because I think people expect them to make the NCAA tournament again, and that's not an easy feat. We saw,
right.
a lot had to go right over the course of the last couple of weeks for that even to happen. And you had to start out with beating Duke at the beginning of the season for that all to happen. Otherwise, you weren't even going to be taken seriously towards the end of the season. That all said, I think that basketball actually has the greatest potential to far exceed expectations. Because if they make it to the second or third weekend, and we've seen Wes put together some good rosters. I think this is his best roster so far, but that last season as well. So I say that with a grain of salt. But I think that the answer for me is probably basketball and baseball.
I would say football has the greatest potential to far exceed because they're picked 12th. Like, I don't think basketball is going to be picked 12th. Do you? I don't think baseball is going to be picked 12th. So I think if football finishes top 6, top whatever,
Yeah.
I think that would far exceed expectations from where we're at right now.
Yeah. I think basketball sadly has the possibility of, like, I can't read the rest of the question, but it says, and which has the
Biggest
possibility
disappointment.
I think basketball is that answer. Because I just think everyone is just like best roster we've had, NBA prospect and Chom, Dogs added onto a roster, and Jizzle another year older, Day another year older. I just think it's one of those where fans are going to start to get like real desperate when mid-February rolls around and they're like, oh gosh, are we going to make the tournament, this, that, and the other. So I think the answer for both of these is basketball, if I'm being honest. Because I don't think there's like a middle ground unless it's, I guess, making the play-in game, which would suck. But either way, I think basketball is the answer for both.
Fair.
All right. Chad, have you gotten any intel on what the 7th floor space is going to be used for with football no longer there? Does men's basketball want that space?
From people have talked about it here. I don't think it's going to be basketball. I think basketball is going to stay where they're at. So no, I don't. I think they're going to mix it up amongst everybody and give everybody that's already up on that 7th floor a little bit more space. But I think basketball likes where they're at there on the 6th floor.
Very nice.
All right, checking real quick here for anything that I might have missed. It looks like there was a late addition to the football mailbag. Do you think Shakely now being on the BOT is a good sign for the university, continuing to take athletics seriously and perhaps even more so in the future?
I think they've always taken athletics very seriously, so I don't think it changes much, but it's always good to have as many advocates in that type of position as possible.
Yeah. No name, known addition. So yeah, I don't think there's anything negative with that. So I agree. Anything else, Aaron?
All right. And that's the mailbag. Get us out of here, Brent.
Wow. How about that? Tidy, easy, in and out. Just another Monday night with the boys. Big 12 media days this week. Chad, that was a nice inhale, exhale.
Like 3 weeks from camp, roughly.
Hey, we are surviving, just like I did out in the wilderness with no cell service. How long could you guys go with no cell service, you think?
I'd be fine.
Depends.
As long as I could have I'd have to make sure I had hours and hours and hours of music.
Yeah. Music, podcasts.
Music. Like I just need music and I'd be fine.
Okay. Yeah. You guys think so too? To be honest with you, I put my phone away instantly. Didn't even look at it. And you know the craziest thing? You put your phone on airplane mode, the battery doesn't die. It's like nuts. I'm just so used to this battery just dying so fast. It just lasted for so long. But yeah, it was fun. Just another Monday night with the boys. Fantastic time. Shouts to Danco Transmission and Auto Care. Danco Joe, miss you, man. Can't wait to see you sometime soon. Shouts to Quick Paper Supply, providing us with timestamps. Shouts to my boy Ryan Royer. Just a fantastic job riffing this week. Missed him last week. He did a great job, as always. But you know what? Big 12 Media Days this week. Hopefully Keegan makes it. If anyone's got a PJ, hit him up. Get him on it. Fly him down ASAP for all the best coverage that he can give you. But BCJ will have everything he needs to stay locked in, of course. But for my guys, for the pals, for the crew, for Aaron Smith, for Chad Brendel, for Ryan Royer, I am Brent Young. Yet again, another fantastic BBP presented by BearcatJournal.com.
See ya.